Hey everyone, Devon Digital here, and I got some thoughts about the Galaxy Z Fold. So before we begin this video, I just want to give you a short story. Exactly around the Z Fold 2 time when that came out, I went down to T-Mobile and I went ahead and upgraded one of my devices to the Z Fold 2. And I used it for about maybe 5 days before I decided to take it back because I really didn't like the form factor of the device. So I just kind of like took it back, but I really wanted a foldable. So then we fast forward a few years later, the Pixel decided to come out with a foldable, and it seems like the outside screen was a little bit more usable. So, of course, at the given time, was kind of like in love with Pixels. So I was like, that's a no-brainer. Let me get the Pixel Fold, and I will use that because it gives me the software that I love in a phone as well as a foldable. So it was initially really my second foldable, but I really consider it my first foldable. So I'm going to give you my experience of using the Z Fold. And I know that right now the Z Fold 5 is out, but hear me out. My cousin, he supports my channel. He loves what I do. And he upgraded from his Z Fold 3 to the Z Fold 5. So he calls me up and he asked me, he said, hey man, do you want my Z Fold 3? And I was like, I don't want to pay for it. And so I was like, no, I'm okay. He said, no, I'm going to give it to you and you can just use it for your channel or sell it or do whatever you want to do with it. And I was like, sure. So here I am with the Z Fold 3 talking to you about it. So this isn't going to be a review, right? I'm not going to review this device because it is a old device and I know a lot of people are not really interested in, but I just want to kind of tell you the experience of using the Z Fold itself, not the 3, but just the Z Fold. So nothing has changed. I still do not like this outside screen at all. Comparison to the Pixel Fold, I do not like this screen. A lot of people said that this screen is like one hand friendly, but I would say it's half and half, right? So in my experience of actually using this long candy bar style type screen is that this half and down is the most usable part of the device. So from here down, up here, anywhere up here will become like unusable and I have to do like gymnastics to get my hand to, operate anything at the top. But anything below here is completely fine when using the device. So I wouldn't really say that this is a one-handed device unless you're somebody who has really big, long hands and fingers, I guess. And then yes, but it's really not that usable. Even my wife has problems with it and I got bigger hands than her and I'm having problems. So using, like, if I'm in Instagram, for instance, right? And everything, you see how everything up here is at the top. So therefore I have to wiggle to get up here to click on my story. I mean, if this is one-handed, we're talking about one-handed. We're not talking about me just clicking it, right? Simple as that. But I would have to reach, and then it's harder, just to deal with doing that or whatever. I know Samsung has like a one-handed mode. I haven't used that up here, I'm gonna be honest with you. I just didn't feel like the need to try to use that on this little screen because I believe the one-handed mode on my Galaxy S23 makes a smaller version of the phone right here. So, I'm gonna try it after this video actually to see. But still, one-handed is out the window for me at least. It's not usable for me, but anything below here is totally fine. Have any issues at all. And that's the outside screen. And that's the only bad that I really have to say about this device. So when I open this device up, it is so pleasing to feel the hinge cling together. It just is a very satisfying feel. I like literally open and close this thing all the time, just feeling the hinge just lock into place. Now my Pixel Fold, it doesn't have a hinge that locks in place. It's one of those hinges where, you just got to open it all the way up and close it because it kind of goes in, all angles and stuff like that. And I noticed that this can get to almost all angles, but once it get about here, it's going to like lock into place. And of course, my Pixel Fold, you can actually have the Pixel Fold just like that. So here's the Pixel Fold for comparison. See, it doesn't lock in place. You actually have to like literally close it up because it just has one of those type of hinges that you just have to like close up or whatever. But again, opening and closing this hinge has been like ultimate satisfaction. I really love this hinge and the feel of it in the back of my hand. over here in the back. So it's really, really great. I really love it. I really, really love this hinge in this phone. It feels really incredible. Initially, I wanted to have problems with the inside screen because when you open it up, it opens up in portrait orientation. I'm like, okay, it's supposed to be like a tablet, but my man Ike said that the Galaxy Fold in most, well, let's put it like this. He said that other foldables opened up into a bigger phone, basically, and not a tablet. And this has been true. I like that statement. The statement is so true because if you open up the Z Fold, it opens in portrait orientation, which gives you just a bigger phone canvas. But if you want a tablet form factor, you just simply rotate it. And now you have your 6x9. I'm not saying that's the right dimensions for this, but you know what, you get the point I'm trying to make. 6x9, 6x10, whatever tablet ratios are in landscape, this turns into a landscape tablet now. So I kind of like that. So at first I was like, well, I wish it just opened up this way, but it's really, to be honest with you, it's not a big deal to just turn your phone. So when I'm using this device, I am using this device a lot in landscape for whenever I'm doing like my split screening or multitasking or anything like that. So when I'm using split screen on the Galaxy Fold, it's long. These apps are not the right ratio at all whatsoever. So I kind of really hated that. So I decided to be like, you know, what happens if I just rotate it? And if I rotate it, it's normal. This is how it looks normal on the Pixel Fold. So as you can see, the Galaxy Fold and the Pixel Fold looks normal when in landscape, but you have to rotate the Galaxy Fold to be that because this phone already opens up in landscape to give you that regular ratio when it comes to your apps. But the Galaxy Z Fold is a phone that opens in this orientation. So when you're doing your split screening, you will have to turn it this way. So, and then when you rotate the Pixel Fold, it goes in like half and half with the top and the bottom. This one is side to side. So even then, I still prefer this right here, whatever orientation that this rotates in, over this right here, because I don't like the apps to be all elongated and stuff like that. And that's due to this outside screen being a really weird ratio right now. But I want to say that overall, it is very, very pleasing to watch content on the Z Fold. Very pleasing. Now, even with that little comparison, it doesn't make the Z Fold bad at all. In fact, I still love it just as much as I love the Pixel Fold ratio when it comes to opening up both of these devices. I have no issue with the Pixel Fold. I have no issue with the Z Fold. It's just the outer display of the Z Fold is my biggest gripe with it, but I get it. Some people love it and some people hate it. And I'm just like one of those people who just don't care too much for the outside screen. It's just way too thin and too long for my liking. But everything else about the Z Fold has been incredibly a joy to use, including it hasn't really been the best. Even when I set the device down for like one full day and just let it idle drain, I came home one day after work and it was at like 34%. So it just kind of like sat there and just drained to death or whatever. But other than that, I'm not really going to get into that because this device is pretty old and it's probably ready for a new battery, given that it's about close to 3 years old or generations old, because we're about to move into the Z6 real soon or whatever. So battery is exceptional, but the best thing about that, the fast charging up here is 45 watts, which I wish it was 65 watts. I wish that was like the standard for all devices, but 45 I can live with. I mean, heck, my Pixel charges very slow. So not slow where I like be like, oh my God, but I just wish that 45 was like at least, you know, it had 45 like Samsung, and Samsung does 45. So that's good enough for me actually, and I have no issues or whatever. So yeah, I'm not gonna judge this phone's battery at all. So if you have the Z Fold and you had it from day one to now, and you let me know how your battery life is going. But I don't really want to talk about it because it's just such an old device to be talking about battery. So yeah. Now let's talk about a feature that I thought I wanted and I don't like it, I guess now. So on the Z Fold, the outside display can be separate from the inside display. Now I'm going to explain why. So I set up my outside screen to be different from the inside screen. So when I'm looking for like certain apps or anything like that, I can't find them because the outside screen, I have a whole different layout. So I, you know, either I make them identical to each other with screens on the inside outside, but I'm just really just talking about this feature because it was not in the Pixel Fold. And I was like, this is stupid that I have to set up my Pixel Fold outside screen to look a certain way so the inside screen could look a certain way. And I really didn't like that. But then after using the Pixel Fold for a while, I kind of got used to it. So the layouts became the same. And then when I open it up, boom, it's the same. I know what I'm looking for. I know where it's at and everything else like that. So when I got the Z Fold, I was extremely happy that I could actually set up the two displays separate. So I did that. And in my usage, and because it's probably because I got used to the Folds version, right? It's probably that, really, to be honest with you. But when I'm using the outside screen on the Z Fold, then I open it up, I can't find my apps. I don't know where they are on the outside screen, the inside screen, because I'm just not used to the layout on both. It's like totally different layout. And I was just like, I don't think I like this. It and I'm thinking about just turning that feature off because you again, Samsung's the king of everything customizations, right? So I do have the option to have both layouts exactly the same on both screens, or I can separate the two. So I think I just might go back to separating the two. I mean, keep them together like exactly the same, because it's just what I'm familiar with, and there's nothing wrong with that. I do appreciate them giving the option, and man, Google need to give that option as well. Probably wouldn't use it, but Google definitely need to get an option. So kudos to Samsung for that. Now, I'm going to talk about the camera real quick, right? But just hear me out. I never, well, I used to be a fan of Samsung cameras, and I kind of stopped being a fan of their cameras since the Galaxy S23 Ultra, 22 Ultra, sorry. And the 23 didn't do it for me. And, you know, just looking back at all of my Samsung pictures and my Google Photos, I I kind of really don't like them. And I just always been that way for me, I guess, in the past few years. So this camera doesn't excite me, and in fact, I only used it for testing. Normally, I will pull out like my Pixel Fold or my Pixel 8 Pro to take a picture that I want to show off to somebody while this sits in my pocket. And I'm not saying that Samsung cameras are bad by any means. It's a personal thing. I just don't like their processing, and that's personal. That's not saying that this phone has bad cameras or Samsung suck at cameras and all the stuff like that, because I think they make some of the best camera hardware out there. But it doesn't mean that I have to like their processing. Even with me being a photographer, I shoot and edit photos in RAW. And sometimes there's clients, not like clients that pay for me, but I'm pretty sure that when people are going through my photos, they may not like my style of shooting and editing. So they don't call me to book me. But then you have those people who do love my style of editing and processing. So they do call and book me because they like it. That's no different than this situation right here. I don't care for Samsung's processing, so I don't really care to use the camera. I don't care for Apple's processing, so I don't care to use the camera. Yes, this is a Pixel channel, so I'm just going to say that. I do like Google's processing, but at the same time, I still shoot RAW on my Google Pixel because I prefer my own processing over all three of those companies. So I'm just saying, like, the camera will get the job done, but it's not my favorite camera at all. And even if the cameras are better on the Galaxy, I guess, Z Fold 5, I'm still going to feel this way about it because I just don't like Samsung's processing. I don't even like the camera on my Galaxy S23 Ultra, which arguably have better cameras than any of the Z Fold models. And I'm just going to briefly talk about the crease on this device. I don't care for the crease. Like, I'm not saying like I don't care, like it's bad and I don't care. I'm saying like I've been using a photo booth for quite some time, so creases just don't bother me. In fact, call me weird or not, but I kind of find it very pleasing to rub my hand or finger across the creases on these devices. I don't know, it's just something pleasure about feeling the texture of it. So I actually don't have a problem. And plus, when I'm using the device, the creases just disappear. Z Fold, Pixel Fold, don't matter what foldable, it just disappeared because you're not really kind of like focused on that crease after a while. So yeah, I don't have a problem with the crease on the Z Fold or whatever. If they increase it to get better on all these devices one day where it's just seamless across, I may be a little upset, but might not be. Now I'm gonna bring out something that's a little controversial between the two foldables that I do currently have. That's the Z Fold 3 and the Pixel Fold. And that is really like the bezels, right? The bezels on these are widely different, right? And I actually, this is Call me crazy though, but I prefer having bezels on the Pixel Fold. And it's because the Pixel Fold unfolds into like a tablet landscape form factor. And I find myself holding on to those bezels. So theoretically, I mean, I know a lot of people don't like it, and that's perfectly fine. But on the Z Fold, I have a lot of issues with resting my palm and my hand on the screen, and I'm trying to activate certain things, and the palm rejection isn't probably that great, at least in my experience of using this. So I actually like having those bezels on the Pixel Fold to hold on to when I'm using the device, because not one single time have I ever had touch issues, but I've been having this on the Z Fold when I'm holding this whole sheet of glass. So Google, I mean, it makes sense to have bezels on something that's supposed to be a phone and kind of like a tablet, but everyone's going for this hyper thin look, which looks really good. And I'm just saying this is a me problem. So if you're watching this, don't take what I'm saying personal, because I'm pretty sure you're saying like I have the Z Fold and I don't have that issue. And I believe you. I believe that you're not having that issue, but that doesn't change the fact that I'm having this issue. People like to really get a little bit personal when somebody else is having an issue that they're not having on a device. And I know that theoretically, when you're looking at the Pixel Fold and the Z Fold side by side, the Z Fold looks so much better with the thin bezels and, you know, the camera cutout and everything. And I will agree with every last one of you with that, but I find it useful to have those bezels on the Pixel Fold. And I kind of don't really want Google to get rid of it, but I feel like they may do that because of all the hype and controversy behind these other foldables who do have these razor thin bezels, and people complain about bezels a lot. So it just kind of makes sense to me, but it is what it is. Manufacturers going to do what they do, and I'm just going to buy it, get used to it, and move on. So that's just the reality that we kind of like live in. So I really don't care too much for the super thin bezels, but the visual of looking at this looks incredible. And like I say, it's not a problem, but it's a problem. So again, I'm going to go ahead and close this video out. I'm not reviewing this device in the sense that you think I'm reviewing the device itself. It's just the experience that I'm kind of like giving you right here in this video of using like the Z Fold in general, because this could be the Z Fold 5 and I would say all the same stuff, right? But it's just the experience that I wanted you to know that I'm having with using this. And to be honest with you, if it wasn't for the like the outer display, at least in my case, that I can actually practically use this phone and pretty much really be happy with it. I didn't order the pen, the S Pen with it, and I don't plan to, because I don't plan to keep this. But if I did, I would have gotten it. I tried to use my other S Pens to my other devices that I have, my Galaxy tabs and my S23 Ultra, then a separate extra pen on board. But I totally forgot that this comes with its own special pen, and just not going to invest in it. But the overall experience of using this phone, the software experience, the inner screen, the ratio of the inner screen, and the beauty of the screen, the speakers, just the charging, just everything is people. The one-handed use is perfectly perfect for them, and you know, not, and then the cramped keyboard and everything else works for them very well. And that's the beauty of technology, and you know, having options on the market, because if this is not a good option for you, then this may be a good option for you. Or if none of these are, you still have other foldables on the market that may be an even better option for you. So one thing I love about Android is that we have these options out there. And I don't want nobody to take away and be like, oh man, he really hates this Z Fold and it's stupid and all this stuff, because I don't. That's not the takeaway of this video. It's just me giving you my experience of using this. And everyone who has this device will not love it, and some people will love it. It goes the same way for the Pixel. Some people hate this thing, some people love this thing, and I'm perfectly fine with that, because different strokes for different folks. Anyways, this is Devon Digital, and I'll catch you in the next video. Peace.